hard. No one is promised an easy ride. Every man faces challenges in life. Some are seasons of strength, while others feel like you're just hanging on, trying to catch your breath. But no man was meant to fight alone. Every fighter needs a corner, a place where you're strengthened, where truth is spoken, where you're reminded of who you are. This is CornerMen, a place for Christian men who want to grow stronger, not just on the outside, but in character and faith. Honest conversations anchored in biblical ground. Real encouragement for the battles we all face. Each episode will discuss issues that men are dealing with. We'll hear from men who have walked the road and unpacked the practical ways to live out their faith where it really matters. At home, at work, and in the quiet moments of life when no one else sees. So wherever you're watching from, welcome to CornerMen.
Yeah, I think back on, that time revealing everything in that room with Darren and Brendan and Amy, and having these Christian men that had walked the walk. It's so powerful. For so long, I was wanting to stop this thing that was absolutely destroying me, but had no idea how. I want to stop, but this is too hard. So to have godly men that have walked the walk, that have absolutely done the step by step, that have the resume to say, hey, I'm 10 years sober. I've been there, I've done it. I know what day 1 is like. I know what day 27 is like. But I also know what day 365 is like. And you'll hit that 1 year and it gets easier. Having that in your corner, having the men that would encourage you, that would pray for you, that would continually just say, how you doing, right? There's how you doing and there's how you doing. There's the Aussie, how you doing? Yeah, she's all right, mate. And then, no, but are you okay? I was so grateful for those, are you okay? Do you want to, let's hang out. Let's just, honestly, whether it's having a coffee or whether it's kicking a ball around, whatever it is, but just having, men that have walked that walk and just to, oh man, some of the questions that I would ask and just, how did you get through that? And I'm really challenged in this space. The confidence that, someone that's that's done it for 10 years. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. Whereas for you, it's like, this is the hardest thing ever. Yeah, but they come from this place of peace. And they come from a place of confidence because they've walked it. They know some of the answers to the questions that you're going to ask, and just seeing them every week, right? Whether it's at church, whether it's at Connect Group, whether it was, later on in life playing golf, whatever it might be, or whether it's, because he's up there marrying you and your wife. To have these men in my world definitely helped. And I, best mate that loves Jesus. It's amazing. I'm blessed to have an amazing wife, an amazing woman that was absolutely by my side. But to have as well these group of men that are walking this same path, it does help. It really does. You can relate, right? You can relate and you can help each other when you're feeling down. You know, I think I'm very grateful. I've now lived 18 coming up to 19 years free from addiction, right? I've lived this life. I'm 47 though, yeah? So from the age of 13 to the age of, what was it, 26, I also lived with addiction. And they were some of my hardest, toughest years of my life, those early years. And these 18, 19 years now that I live under His grace in a life that I honestly could only dream of. I do think of it like living two different lives because of how beautiful this life is. And don't get me wrong, it started a great journey when I got saved. It did. But living with the complete freedom from addiction. Is there anything greater for a person that is addicted to be free from that? Oh, I don't think so. And if there are, and I know there are, men, because I've got men in my world, I've got a brother that had a similar path, you know, and kept struggling and kept falling over and kept failing. You know, while I lived a 18-year freedom, he unfortunately lived at 18 years of falling over. So, and I look at his life and I look at my life and I'm so grateful. The grace that God's given me, the forgiveness that He's given me. And how it all started. Did I have the courage to say, hey, help me? No, I didn't. And I wish I did. I really wish I did. I wish I had the courage to go, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Can you please help me? But God can make a way. God will bring it to the light. He will. But you know what? What I am grateful is, even though I didn't have the courage back then, there's been many times that I've had the courage to go to my wife and say, guess what? There's something that happened in my past that I think you should know about. Because I want you to know. I don't want any secrets. So I've had the courage. And there's been other times where I've just gone, hey, this is something I need you to know. And did it break her? Yes. Again, it has that thing where it lifts the heaviness off you and puts the burden on them. And it takes time. And yes, it does hurt. It hurts your loved ones. It really does. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. When you do reveal some of these secrets that you've kept, it will hurt them. But they will show you love. They will show you grace. They will show you forgiveness. Absolutely they will. And from that, you will live in true freedom. You will have the freedom to live a life here on earth that it's not about trying to get caught, right? I lived a life so long thinking, oh, I hope she doesn't look at my bank account. I hope she doesn't do this, or I hope she doesn't do that. And to think that you could be living a life now where you're just worried, oh, I hope she doesn't look at my phone, or I hope she doesn't look at my laptop, or I hope she doesn't look at my bank account, or I hope she doesn't hear that I went to the casino, all these things. And we're living a life that we're hiding. And that's not freedom. That's not what we were designed to do. We were meant to live a life, I believe, of transparency. A life that we can just, this is me, warts and all. You know, I struggle with this, or I struggle with that. But I love you. Can you help me? You know, and from there, you get people around you people from the church to help. And there's so many beautiful people and people that have done the journey. You know, I'm so grateful because my story has never stopped here. Obviously, I'm sharing it today, but it didn't stop here. My wife and I have had many people over our home where they've couples, and the man, he struggled with pornography or he struggled with gambling, and we sat there. You know what we did? We gave them all the tools and all the steps that Darren Kiddo gave me back in that room that helped me to be accountable for every little part, so then they could be free from their addictions. And guess what? I know them very well. They're part of church. They're free from addiction. They have wonderful marriages. They have wonderful marriages. They have children, and they're doing really, really well. You know, we've seen many couples and many families turn and transform their life. And even my brother, who stuffed up many, 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 many times, you know, he's now 2 years free from addiction, doing really well, looking really fit as well, you know. That's probably another thing with addiction, right? With people that have maybe addictive, you might have heard addictive personalities or addictive traits, right? We tend to have, we've got to do something, you know, and I've probably a good example. I stopped drinking and stopped gambling and stopped taking drugs, but I threw it into going to the gym and doing sport and doing all these other stuff. So I do really encourage to, one, get help, be transparent. And I'll say this, the thing you're happy to tell, whether it's your wife, whether it's your connect group leader, whether it's your pastor, whether it's someone that you love dearly about your addiction, and you'll tell them this, but I'm not going to tell them this, that one thing, the one thing that you just want to hold on to, that's where the freedom is, right there. Because that stuff's easy. But the real one, the one that's keeping you up at night, the one thing that you think, well, if I tell her that, she's going to leave me. That's where the freedom is. Tell them everything. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. It sure will. It sure will.